Good morning, everyone. I wish I had the printed version of the book with me now, but unfortunately it's been printing right now. So this is a book that I had the idea to create when I was when I published my first children book, and the first children book was about blackfin tuna, Tunus atlanticus. And then because I spent 5 years in Canada doing my PhD, and I had my son who was at that time 2 years old, I had the opportunity to read a lot with him, and I have access to lots of children's books. And then I had this idea of having a children's book called The Underwater World from A to Z, from those books that I had read. So my initial idea was to have a book that was based on FishBase, and the drawings would be done by my son. At that time, he was 8 years old, and he started to illustrate the book. We had, I think, 5 or 6 drawings, but then he was not able to finish it, and I wasn't able to finish the book. So last year what happened is there was an opening to have some books published at my university, and my book was selected, and I invited a co-author, and that's Mateus. So I invited him to finish the book with me and to revise the distribution of some of these species. And then I invited Josaphat, a fisheries engineer who used to be my student. And some of these guys here are some scientists, Brazilian scientists. So this is Alfredo. He wrote the fishes of the Brazilian coast, Alfredo Carvalho Filho. And then we have Leo Francini, Claudio Sampaio, and João Luiz Gasparini. So they are scientists working in Brazil and divers as well. And this is my son, who also illustrated some of the fishes using a more recent way of drawing. And because I have drawings only for 5 or 6 species, I decided to invite some students of the bachelor degree in fisheries engineering. So I have some of these students here. So I have Jorge, Laís, Lucas, Robson, and Thais. So I gave them like 2 weeks to draw because of the competition, I gave them 2 weeks to draw the rest of the illustrations, and they were free to choose whatever media they wanted to use. And because it's a to Z book, so we had the opportunity to have information for 26 species. So these are the species, and I'm going to show you how the book looks like. So first of all, we have, so it's a very quick presentation just to show you how it was done. So the first species was Agulhão Vela, Stiophorus platypterus, and this was done by Diego when he was 8 years old. And that was before Bolsonaro, so you have the Brazilian black flag here. And we have a photo by Mateus Rotundo. And then it looks like, really, it looks like FishBase, and it brings other names. And as you can see up there are lots of Brazilian names, Portuguese names, for these species, and then we have the maximum size, both length and weight. And then if the species has some interest for aquaculture, for commercial interest, or even for recreational fisheries. And then we have the distribution, and we redid the maps. So these maps are based on aqua maps, but There was some inconsistencies for some species in the FishBase web page, so we had corrected those. And then we have some information about the biology of the species. So here we have information about what they eat, where they live, if they do schools or not. And then we have Barracuda, Esphirrhena barracuda, by Laís and Mateus. We have Balistis vetula by Diego again and Mateus. Dentão, Lutijano Jocu, by Robson and Mateus. Enxada, Pomacontus paru, with Jorge and Mateus. Fusquinha, Plectrops retrospine, by Jorge and Gasparini. O Galo de Penacho, Selene Vomer, by Lucas and Mateus. Holandês, Rundictis affinis, by Thais and Alfredo. This is Diego's recent drawing. It's a very different style. And this is for Imborel, Abrissomos nucipines, and the photo by Mateus. I have to point out that the names that are used here are not, sometimes are not the most commonly used in Brazil, but because you had to have one name per letter, so I had to choose different names. And then we have Jamanta gigante, Mobula birrostris, by Jorge and Leo Francini. Quijada, so this is one case that we use a different name. That's Tunus albacaris, that we called albacora amarela. It's the more common name. And then we have a photo by Alfredo and the illustration by Lucas. Limpa vidro de Noronha, Acirtus paucirradiatus, by Thais and Cláudio Sampaio. Macaquinho comum, by Lucas and Mateus. Namorado verdadeiro, Pseudopestis numida, by Thais and Mateus. Olho de cão, Priacanthus arenatus, by Laís e Mateus. O paru real, Olacanthus ciliaris, by Thais and Mateus. Quatro olhos, Anableps microleps, by Thais and Mateus. Hayashita is endangered species, so Etobatus narinari, we kept it ready so the children could have a notion about threatened species, and that's by Lucas and Mateus. Sardinha bandeira, Pstonema oglino, by Laís and Mateus. Totó de concha, Strapogon puncticulatus, by Thais and Alfredo. Umbigada, Stelife microps, by Jorge and Mateus. Vaca sem chifre, Lactophrys trigonus, by Thais and Mateus. O arru, Acanthocibium solandri, by Thais and Mateus. Chira amarela, Emulon squamipina, by Laís and Mateus. E Urupiranga notarius grandicacis, by Jorge and Mateus. And Zumbi, Parinizotremus moricani, by Lucas and Mateus. And then we have some information about the morphology, the external morphology of the fishes. So we have some information for teleost fishes and also for rays. One idea for the kids to have the different sizes of the fishes that we presented. And then, of course, some sources and FishBase, how to find more information. And finally, we have a glossary, a small dictionary, so the kids could understand a little bit more about what was said in those pages. Yeah, that's it.